folks were going to have Carl. She was pregnant again when June and Joan were 13 and I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
I was a bad kid. Mom told me she was going to have a baby and I said, "Oh, hate it. That's kids for you." But anyway, so we were built-in babysitters for Carl. Well, they had to have more space, so that's why they moved to the house that Bob's in. And then they rented out the other little house to people for a long time, and then they sold it.
Oh, so you were like a teenager when you moved to that house?
Yeah.
But you bought the phone number for that, right?
Yeah, I did. People didn't have phones like they do now, and I wanted to put a phone in. I wanted it in my dad's name, but they said, "No, you're the one that's getting it, and you're going to pay for it." So, well, my dad was Carlos Jennings Clemens,
Mm-hmm.
and my initials were Betty and Joe, BJ, and his were CJ. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, the closest I can come is just put it in my initials, BJ. So but it's still the same number.
Oh.
It was Prospect 10798, and then they changed to all numbers. It's still 77107.
I know, yeah. And my cell phone number is 901-0798.
I know. I thought, I wonder if that's the longest any phone's been the same number for
Maybe.
Portland.
When did you get it in?
Hmm?
When did you get the phone number?
I was let's see, I was just out of high school and working. At first I worked in like drugstore fountains and Fred Meyer deli section and stuff, and then I got on in advertising at Meyer and Frank. So I don't remember exactly where I was working when I did it, but it was shortly after high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I ended up being production manager, and I was going in, and seeing Mr. Frank in his big office every morning with my boss. And
That's so funny because I go to Lewis and Clark College now.
yeah,
And the manor house there, like the admittance house, is the old Frank Manor.
mm-hmm.
So the college is like, it used to be like the Frank of Meyer and Frank, like it used to be their property.
Uh-huh.
So one of the buildings is
Yeah.
like the old horse stable and stuff like that.
Oh my
And there's
goodness.
still like cobblestone streets and
Oh.
things.
Oh, neat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you're going to college.
Yes.
Are you still working too?
Yeah, I actually work at OHSU.
Oh, you do?
Uh-huh.
What do you do?
I make coffee. I'm a barista.
A barista.
A barista. It's a fancy slang for I make coffee, basically. All those fancy coffees, like
Yeah.
lattes and cappuccinos. Yeah.
In their cafeteria or their...
Yeah. Well, they have a bunch, like all the food up there is the same department, so I work pretty much all over the place.
Now, okay, that wouldn't be KCI Institute down on the river.
There we do have, not on the waterfront, but up on the hill.
Okay, and it's the eye clinic or is it the...
It's the whole hospital.
Oh, the whole
So we
hospital.
do have we do have a food location in the KCI Institute on the hill.
Mhm.
I don't work